Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Today I want to talk about travel. One of my favorite topics. I know I've got my morning cup of tea here. It's actually English breakfast, but I have a bit of a cold, so I'm going to have a sip. Hope my throat lasts through the video. But travel for me is a real adventure, and I love traveling solo. A lot of people always comment like, how do you do that, Margaret? How do you go off on your own to strange and wonderful places? But I actually think it should be a joy. And traveling should be something that we are comfortable doing, and if we choose not to, that's fine too. I mean, a lot of people just don't like to leave their homes, and they've got a rhythm to their life that they enjoy. But I think a lot of people have a few places on their list of I'd love to go there. I'd love to experience it. I'd like to go out and try something a little bit different. And I think the joyful aspect of travel is what drives me. It just makes me feel good when I land in a strange place and I have to explore it. I've got new things to discover, and it just makes me feel like I'm sort of experiencing something for the first time, and that rejuvenates me. But maybe that's not your idea of travel, but maybe it's just going down the road to a new coffee shop, and that's fine too. Solo travel, though, is on the rise, and a lot of women in our 60 and Me community love traveling, and the reasons are different. Some people have got bucket list things. I really want to see Rome before I can't travel too much anymore. Or I really always wanted to go to India, or my favorite place in the world would be to go to Sweden or Norway, somewhere to see the Northern Lights. You've got these kind of passions that you'd like to discover and exercise. And so I guess the first reason the first response I would have to give you some reassurance and some kind of, encouragement is just seize the moment. Just do it. The pandemic held us back. It kept us in our houses for 2 years. But now we've got this opportunity where travel's coming back into a rhythm. There's lots of beautiful groups. I did this in a separate video, and I'll put a link to it below so that you can go look at it. In a solo group travel is almost, in my opinion, the ideal way for older women to travel. You may say, oh, I don't want to travel with other women, but solo travel in a group, I think, is actually the best way to do it. But if you don't want to do that, then just go by yourself or with a friend. There's these two women. I can find their details. They're 80 years old, and they did this around the world in 80 days. And they are 80, and they've been friends for life. They know each other really, really well, and they've got a YouTube channel, and it's just amazing. These two ladies have been everywhere, and everywhere. They've been to 80 different countries, and they recorded it all, and they did trains and boats and planes, and they didn't do like gentle travel. They rode camels and helicopters and toboggans, and they just did everything that was, just taking the risk. But they were together too. That wasn't quite solo travel. But if you really have a place you want to go, a thing you want to do it. And I'm right now going to go into travel mode and pick up one of my fans from somewhere. I think it was Portugal, because it's warm. Oh, goodness me. We don't have air conditioning here in Switzerland, but I do have a little like a fan that is so noisy that it would like destroy the sound of the video. But anywho, so being selfish, grab the moment, do it, overcome the challenges. And if you've got doubts, just don't let them overtake you. There was a woman in one of our comments recently who said she wanted to write a book, and she had too many doubts about it. And I sent a note back to say, overcome those doubts. Being optimistic and believing in yourself, and not creating reasons for not doing it. Follow your interests, I guess, is another one. Besides just doing it and going for it, follow your interests. If you've got an interest that you've always been curious about, something that you are passionate about, a hobby or some art. I mean, if you've always been into photography, to go to a photographic exhibition in Nice, or go to a gallery in Monaco, or a museum. I did a recent article about museums. I'm just so curious to get to some of these, but they are a perfect way to motivate you to travel and to make it joyful. It's just to have a place that you've always wanted to go, or a passion that you've always wanted to see in expressed in the sculpture or art or architecture or cooking. It's all kinds of things. Wine exploration is a big one. But if you can't do it as part of a group, then go solo. You're never alone anyway. And this is one thing I have discovered in my travels, is that, there's so many people that are willing to help you. And if you, just prepare yourself, make sure you know where you're going, and, do some of the basic safety tips of, with your phone and your possessions and all of that. And there's so much online, even on 60andMe, we've written quite a bit about travel safety, that you can do it. Make a short trip. To start with a short one. Go on a little retreat, or just to a hotel the next town over for a few days, just if you can afford it. To just experiment with what happens when you get on a train, or most of you know what a plane ride is like, but maybe not. I mean, a lot of the number of people without passports in the United States is really high. I think it's like only 30% of people in the US have a passport. Maybe, do you have a passport? Does anybody here even want to travel? Is this an article, a story that you even want to hear about? I know, I would say about 70% of the women in our community are Canada, North America. And maybe this is not as much of a thing as it is in Europe, because we travel a lot more here in Europe than in the UK, than I think probably any other part of the world. So, as I said, if you can travel solo, make it joyful. Make it an experience that you're in control, you're in charge. If you've got mobility issues, you can still do this. If you've got mobility issues that require some help, physical help, then you probably want to have, somebody with you. And that's where group sessions or group travel organizations come into play. And there are so many of them. And if you want to get a feeling for it, just go onto Facebook or Instagram or somewhere like that. There's lots of women organizing tours for women. And, so there's a lot of options that you've got. Of course, you've got to address the issues about loneliness, because travel can be lonely. Safety. I mentioned some of the things that you do, and I think I've done several videos on my own kind of little ways that I do things, get around my safety concerns. And health. And health is a big one when you're traveling solo. So what do? Well, I always take my medicines with me. Even if I'm going to the next town, I always take my blood pressure stuff. I also make sure I've got my ankle brace, because I sometimes get a weak ankle, and there's nothing worse than that when you're like trying to walk and your foot hurts you. Hands up, who knows that, or knees, knee brace. And then also my blood pressure machine. I don't take that with me on like day trips or whatever, but I have a portable blood pressure machine that comes with me everywhere. And because I have blood pressure concerns, then I have to be ready. So if you've got something, that's more complicated than that, and of course it's going to impact travel plans. But I've got an idea. If you step out of your comfort, look at my notes here, step out of your comfort zone. I think that's the thing that we're good at. We're good at this when we get older. We can do this. It's not an impossible thing for us to do. We pushed ourselves before. We did it. Yes, you may be 20 years older, but it doesn't matter. You can do it. And, I'd love it at the bottom of this article, if anybody's got any experiences with travel that, did something that they were afraid of or whatever, it'll give you a huge confidence boost to, personally, to actually go out and embrace these new experiences. And I was going to say that if you don't want to do solo travel in physical world, you can go online. There is so much fun experience with videos. You can go on a cruise, basically. You can not really, but I suppose if you put, all the clothes on and you could dress up and you don't have to get on a plane or a train and go somewhere. You can do walking tours of cities all around the world. There's a company, I think it's called Pro Walk, and they do videos. And there was one the other day I watched, was just walking in a thunderstorm in New York City. They're just walking. You're sitting in your warm house, but you feel like you're there. And, if you've always wanted to go to New York and you think, well, the chances are pretty slim for whatever reason, this is a way to do it, to get out there and to experience the world. India. I just watched a video of India, Jaipur. It was actually a promotional video for Jaipur, which is one of my favorite India cities. And it was just like I was there, like all the buildings I remembered and the sounds and the experiences. So solo travel does not have to be out in the world. It can be something you do in your home, and just get into it. Get dressed up, pretend that you're, that you're really on the road. But share your stories with me. Here we are. We're a large community, but here on YouTube, and we've got a way to talk to each other. Share a really cool trip that you perhaps did by yourself. It doesn't have to be now, like could have been when you were younger, but something that really made you have a joyful travel experience. Okay, I love to read your stories of travel, and I don't know where I'm going off next, but you'll know about it because I travel and send you my videos always. But anyway, I just wanted to share my excitement, as you always can tell, about travel and what it means to me, and maybe to some of you too. Okay, everybody, well, have a fantastic day wherever you're traveling, wherever you're going. If it's stressed to the kitchen, go have a cup of tea, and we'll see you later. Take care. Bye.